Hi, welcome to Vicky Makes and Builds. Okay, I have another Krypt puzzle for you today. I am happy to be coming back to the Krypt puzzles, a little intimidated, but really happy. I have enjoyed all my experiences with the Krypt puzzles so far. So I will show you which one I'm going to do. I am going to do this one here. It is called the Universe Glow Krypt puzzle. It is 881 pieces and it's one of the newer ones. I don't know if it's the most recent. I think the neon green might have come out more recently than this, but it's certainly one of the newer ones. And it's a Krypt with the only piece cut pattern like this. They haven't brought any others out with this piece cut pattern. A lot of the other Krypts do have repeated patterns, like the neon green and the metallic mint and the black. They're all the same pattern. This one is the only one that's 881 pieces and that's this new pattern. So I hope to see more actually. I'd be interested to see what other ones they can bring out with the same pattern as this. This one's unique in the sense that it's not a solid colour Krypt. Most of them are, not all of them, but most of them are. This one is mostly black, but it does have these clusters of stars on. I'm pointing at the front of the box. It doesn't actually show the full image on the front of the box. What I'll do is, it's got a full image on the back of the box. So what I'll do is I'll take a picture of it and put it up for you so you can see. I don't want to look too closely at it because I'm going to try and build this without the guide, but I'll pop it up for you. And you can see that it has these clusters of stars on it going kind of in the middle, and they glow in the dark. Once you've built it, obviously they create this glow in the dark effect, so it looks like, I don't know, I guess a cluster of stars in the universe, hence the name Universe Glow. So I'm looking forward to that element of it, because as far as I know it's the only glow in the dark Krypt as well, so that's going to be really good. I don't know if those stars are going to make it easier to build. I have a general idea of the pattern. All of the Krypts have a circular element to them in terms of the cut, and usually as well some straight areas of cut. So it's kind of like circles meeting the straight lines. That's certainly how it's been with all the other Krypts I've done so far. This one, I know roughly that there are lots of smaller circles scattered about, but I don't know where they are or how they're joined together. I don't know any more than that. I just have this kind of rough idea, and I've not looked at it in any more detail than that. I want to try and avoid using the guide if I can. So far I've done the pink and metallic mint and the gradient without using the guide, and I want to try and not break that streak if I can. But I'm really looking forward to it, so I hope you are too. And I will just, I'll just get on with it and see how I get on. I hope you enjoy. the crypts, by and large, are circles within rectangles. That's the idea behind them. But I knew that this one was lots of smaller circles. So with that in mind, I actually sorted the pieces. And I sorted the pieces according to how circular they were, whether they were sort of smaller, more curvy pieces, so that would signify they're on the inside of a circle, and, you know, larger pieces with a curve, but more of a gradual curve, so it would be on the outside of the circle. I didn't actually sort according to whether or not the piece had stars in, but I'm kind of doing that as I go along. So if I can help you to sort of make sense of what I've done here, I separated the edges, or all the pieces I thought were edges. I'm just going to move this off. I put together as many edges as I could, but what I have is a lot of partial edges, because with this puzzle, similar to the gradient crypt, the circles extend right out to the edge. So what ends up happening is you get pieces like this where they don't fit together with the adjacent edge. They just kind of butt up against it. And whenever I reached the point where I had that at either end, then I had to kind of stop, because they're all black, these pieces. Well, not all of them. Some of them have stars on, but mostly they're black, and it was just too difficult to do the entire edge. So what I've done is I've done as much as the edges I could do, and I've kind of placed them up there in the corner of the board. And then I started to work on the circles, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 circles starting to build up so far. Now, these ones with the stars on, they're perhaps a little bit easier to put together because they have some detail on. So any pieces that I find with really heavily kind of clustered stars, ones like this, and I know they're going to go in this one or this one. Some of them have a little bit of both. Some of them are just all completely black at the moment, and some are a bit more sparse, like these bits here. So it's been slow going. I've spent around 4 hours on this puzzle already. This is as far as I've got with that. There is another bit of a circle coming together here, but this is the outside of a circle. So I'm not sure whether this is part of a whole separate circle or if this is going to eventually attach to one of these. I'm assuming it'll attach maybe to one of these two, but I haven't managed to figure that out yet. So that's just kind of building up on there. Now, I've not worked on this puzzle for a few days, so I'm trying to remember how these pieces are kind of ordered and organized. This sheet here is all the completely black pieces, and I've sorted them more or less by shape, and I've tried to orient them so that the curve in the piece goes like that way. And there's a few more here that just don't fit on the paper. These pieces are ones that were oddly shaped, usually with this kind of shape where there's kind of like a weird sort of triangular shape to them. Usually with that, it's when a circle is meeting the straight lines. So you get these funny angled pieces to sort of accommodate for that. So I've put all those there. And I've dipped in and out of those a couple of times, but I don't think I've really got to the edge of any of these circles yet, apart from here. I managed to attach this to one of the little bits of edge that I'd done. So it is coming together. It's just such a slow process. This one is pieces just with bits of star cluster on. The same with these. And then these, I've taken out all of the black pieces basically, but I do have some left in this box here, and they are curved pieces as far as I could see, but some are bigger, chunkier, taller pieces, which is this pile here, and some are more medium sized, which is this pile here. The smaller, kind of tighter ones are all on the board. But as these circles get bigger and I start to get gaps appearing and I can't find the pieces on the board, then I do occasionally have a hunt in these two piles. So these are going to be looked at more and more as I go along, but I definitely think I can put more together from what's out here, which is what I'm going to be doing next on this puzzle, and just try and get it looking whole. Because I mean, it'd be great if I could get the edge together. As I say, I've made a start there, and just kind of take it from there. Okay, so this circle is getting a lot bigger, it's spreading out, and what we've got happening now is that it's meeting another circle. So I don't know how well you can see the lines here, but the circle kind of emanates out up to around about here, and then here it joins like another circle that's going in that direction. And in the meantime, this one's still going out that way. So I'm not sure what's happening here, but basically it means that I've delved into these pieces a little bit. These are the ones that are kind of a funny shape where they'll squish between two circles that have sort of collided together. And I'm sort of waiting really for that to start happening with these as well. I really would like to attach a circle here or both. I mean, these ones are coming together a bit quicker because they're where the clusters of stars are sort of the most dense. Same with this. And I have still got several pieces where there's kind of dense star clusters on it, but I'm also kind of reaching points where they're a little less dense, and I'm getting pieces a bit more like this, where, you know, there aren't as many star clusters, and I'm sort of finding that I don't necessarily have the pieces I need on the board, but I have them rather in here, which was my other two piles of pieces that I'd sorted. And I've kind of, you'll see I've kind of just mixed them up now, but the purpose of that, I sort of didn't really do it on purpose, but the reason I didn't mind that happening is that they weren't really, the two piles I had were sort of based on shape and whether or not they were outside or inside of the circle, but that was becoming just a little bit hazy, and to be honest, I don't think I'd really sorted them correctly in that sense. So what I ended up doing was I ended up pulling out all of the pieces that were just perfectly black, because I'd sort of started to do that already but only half done it. So I had all these black pieces here and I pulled the rest of them out, and there were a whole bunch more there that I just kind of dumped and left while I worked on these starry pieces. But I think I really need to sit and do another kind of sort, because it's all getting a little bit messy now and I can't really see what I'm looking for very well. So what I think I'm going to do is, I've pulled out this small bit of foam board here. I'm going to transfer all of these completely black pieces over to here and add these to it. Then what I'm going to try and do is tidy up these a bit and these here, and see if I can't get some kind of layout for the puzzle. I mean, I'm not certain really where these circles go yet, but I think the star cluster goes in kind of a backward C shape, or I suppose a C shape, depending on which way around you have the puzzle. But at the moment, so this is an edge, so I thought, well, I'll put this at the bottom and then follow the kind of the swirly lines that way, which makes me think maybe this goes a bit over here, and then that will go kind of on the edge of it, and these will go somewhere. I don't know. I'm gonna sort of make some educated guesses. This one I think will be kind of on the inside of this wee backward C shape, and yeah, and then I'm not sure after that. I think I'm just going to try and join together as many of these as I can, get rid of as many of these more starry pieces once I've sorted out the black pieces. And then when I've done that, I may come back over to these black circles, because they're still small really at the minute. And I think I can, once these are sorted, I think I can maybe get rid of a lot of these black pieces, which will leave me with really just a lot of sort of a wee bit starry pieces, I guess, which I've got a few of here and a few of on here and up there, and just keep eliminating them. Just keep eliminating. I mean, eventually it'd be nice to actually have the edge in place, but at the minute that's still all over the show. Might even move those off the board just to give me some space, and I'll take it from there. It's very haphazard, but you know, it's that kind of puzzle. You've just got to fling them in as you see them and not really, you know, worry too much if we go off plan. But that's my interim plan at the moment, and we'll see where that takes me. Okay, so that is all this middle bit inside this glowy circle filled out. And actually, it wasn't too bad. As the gap got smaller, I was able to kind of discern shapes a little bit better. I've obviously got a lot less pieces over here now, and it's becoming a little bit quicker, a little bit easier. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to stay that way because now I've got to move on to the outside part. We do still have some starry pieces left. Now, there's a pretty bold sort of line where the stars end on this side. So I think everything this side is going to be black pieces. So these starry pieces that I have left are going to be going over here somewhere. So what I think I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and shift the puzzle over a little bit, see if I can put the rest of these starry pieces in here, and I'll maybe move these black circles over to this side so that they're not kind of in the way. I could perhaps move some of those across, and then once I've done all the starry pieces, it really is a case of just attaching these and getting rid of all of those, which is the majority of what I've got left after that. Otherwise it's edges and it's like these bits, but I mean some of these have starry bits on, so they'll probably go along with those, and then I'll just have some black pieces left. I've got a few edge pieces in here I think as well. So this puzzle is definitely starting to gel together now. Now I've got some circles attached. I'm able to just see and find the pieces a lot better. So it's really good though. It's so satisfying when you get into a flow with it. It really is. Like this whole bit here, like once it was a slow start and it was quite frustrating, but once I had got it started, I'd got a few circles and I'd attached them, it really did start to gain some momentum then, and it was just so satisfying to do. So my strategy now really until I finish the puzzle is to finish these starry pieces along with the ones in here, and then to try and attach these, get rid of all those and the edges, and that'll be it done. Yee! Yes! I finished it! I finished it! I am so pleased. I don't know if you could tell. I finished it. I don't know what it is about this particular crypt that's making me feel so proud and happy to have finished it, but I really do feel that way. I felt that way after I'd done Metallic Mint and Pink. Gradient is not so difficult a crypt puzzle, but having done them without using the guide and really, putting a lot of thought and strategy into getting them finished without having to use the guide, I don't know, I just feel such a sense of accomplishment. And this one in particular, it was hard. It was a really hard crypt puzzle, and I think probably the hardest one that I've tackled so far. Now, I will say this, the stars on it made it more doable. And when I say it made it more doable, it didn't make it easy by any stretch. It was still a really difficult puzzle, but I think if I was to do this puzzle in a solid colour, if they brought out another one with this piece cut pattern and it was a solid colour, I think I would really struggle with it. And I mean, I'd probably maybe manage having done one of this cut pattern before, but it would take me forever. It would take me a long time to finish. I don't know, maybe I'd managed it without the guide. I'll have to see if they bring one out and I'll attempt to do that. But at the minute, this is the only one of this kind. So, and I was glad of the stars on it. Honestly, after a while to start, I found it harder at the start. And I think that's probably the case with a lot of jigsaw puzzles, because at the start you're working with all the pieces, you've got all the pieces as options in front of you. And with a crypt in particular, you've got a lot of the same looking pieces in front of you. So the more you put in, the easier it becomes. That's kind of logical. But with this one, it was just that getting going with it that was really quite time consuming and difficult. And especially because I couldn't get the edge fully together, I could only partly do that to start with. With the circles, they seem to build up really slowly. And, the center of the circles was not like in some of the other crypts I've done, where it was really obvious which piece the centerpiece of the circle was. With these ones, they'd done it a little bit differently. There might have been a tiny weeny piece in the middle and a slightly bigger one next to it that I could potentially have sorted into a different pile and things like that. So I found the circles more difficult to kind of get started with. Once they were kind of growing, that was fine, but then I didn't know how big each circle was, whether each circle was the same size or whether some were smaller and some were bigger, at what point they were going to kind of clash into each other, and I was going to be using the funny shaped pieces to fit them together. So I really found that things speeded up a lot once I started to get the circles together, like attached to each other. And then it was a case of I'd eliminated enough pieces to be able to divide the pieces into black pieces and starry pieces, and I kind of went from there. So I had sort of a two-pronged approach to it, which changed as I went along, but I was able just to kind of roll with it, and it became a lot more simple to do at that point. Another thing that threw me about this puzzle was that I actually thought, even though I knew there were a lot of wee circles, I actually thought there were areas of this puzzle that were straight cut, as there have been in all the other crypts I've done, but there actually aren't. It is all circles and pieces that join the circles. There are no straight cut areas. You've got the edge, obviously, but I mean, you only knew they were edges because they had one flat side. You couldn't really put them together until the end. I didn't have the edge done until, I was at the very end of the puzzle, so they weren't even really that straightforward. So that was another thing that threw me. It had gone in a slightly different direction as a crypt puzzle, and so it was all curves. It was just all circles and curvy pieces, and then the funky pieces that joined them together. So that made it quite hard as well, because it was one less thing I was able to use to kind of differentiate the pieces. So I think, that's another reason why this puzzle I think would be particularly difficult if it was solid colour. Definitely. Another reason I love the fact that this has the stars on is that it glows in the dark. How stunning does this puzzle look glowing in the dark? I was so glad I was able to get a nice picture of that and capture what I was seeing, because it just looks so great, just glowing. I was like, wow, that's so amazing. So that's another element of this puzzle that I've thought was just amazing as well. And I've enjoyed every bit. Frustrating at times, as the Krypts are, but I have enjoyed all of it, and I just feel so happy that I've got it done. So that's 4 for 4. I've done all 4 Krypt puzzles that I've done so far without the guide, and I'm very, very chuffed about that. So all the other piece cut patterns I have actually done, but the gradient Krypt, obviously I've done that piece cut pattern. It's the same as the gold cut pattern, but obviously the gold is solid colour. So I kind of feel like I need to have a go at the gold cut again, the gradient cut, and try doing that as a solid colour Krypt instead of gradient. Because I mean, when it's a gradient, you know, you can work with the colours and it's really not as hard at all. So that was fine and doable and quite easy without the guide. But I would like to try my hand at doing the gradient cut pattern, but on a solid colour. So I've got a couple of choices there. The gold Krypt is there, I've got that one, but the other puzzle that is the same cut as that is this one, the Think Krypt 2. And I've not actually had a go at any of my Think Krypts yet. These are the older ones that were released, kind of a bit more vintage. And I particularly like the colour of this one because it's this gorgeous blue colour. It's kind of like a metallic blue, almost with like a purple hue to it, and I think it's a really, really nice colour. So I actually might forego the gold next time around and do this blue one and have a go a solid colour Krypt in the gold or gradient piece cut pattern, and then I'll sort of feel like I've conquered all of the Krypt puzzles at that point. I still would like to collect them all. There's a couple I still don't have yet, but I'll sort of feel like I've conquered them up to a point. You know, I've done all the solid colour ones. As I said, this 881 piece one, it doesn't exist in a solid colour one yet. If and when it does, then I'll have a go at that one too. But I think my next logical one would be this nice blue one in the gradient cut. So I'm looking forward to that, but we'll give it a wee bit of time first because I can only do so many Krypts in a short space of time. They are quite taxing on the brain. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really don't have much more to say about this puzzle. It's a Ravensburger, obviously, so I'm very familiar with Ravensburger pieces. They were great, nice and thick. I did get a fair bit of dust, as with all of the Ravensburgers that I've done, but there was nothing unfamiliar to me, really, about the pieces of this puzzle. They were great. The metallic mint Krypt that I did had a few bent pieces, but I didn't find a single one in this puzzle, so that is really good because certainly in the solid colour puzzles, if you have a bent piece, it's really obvious when you're looking at the finished puzzle. You can see it kind of stands out. But that's not been the case with this. This one, all the pieces were just brilliant, and it's just a thoroughly brilliant puzzle to do. So yeah, I don't have much else to say about it. If there is anything glaring that I have missed, or if you want to know something about it that I can maybe help to answer, if you've got any questions about it, then please do let me know. Leave a comment. I love hearing your thoughts on the puzzles that I do. What do you think of Krypt puzzles? Do you enjoy them? Have you done one before and would never do one ever again? Or do you love the challenge? Do you enjoy doing them with the guide maybe? Let me know. Let me know what you think of the Krypt puzzles and what you thought of my video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like on it. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then please do subscribe to my channel. If you are one of my patrons or members, thank you so much for your extra support. I really do appreciate that. And actually, I have just put up a video on this Krypt puzzle yesterday. At the time of recording this, it was yesterday I put it up. It was a longer time lapse of me doing this puzzle with close-ups, and I popped that up on Patreon and in my YouTube members area. So if you're interested in seeing that, please do pop on over and have a wee look-see at that. And as I say, I really do appreciate all your extra support. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, leave a comment, let me know what you thought, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!